The blue sun of Kepler 442b was setting when the first explosions lit up the sky. Commander Veltar was drinking his evening tea when the ground shook beneath his feet. His cup fell and broke on the metal floor of his office. Outside his window, he could see bright flashes in the distance. "Sir, we have a problem." Lieutenant Zara Esh burst through his door. Her blue skin was pale with fear. "Ships in orbit. Big ones. They're not responding to our signals." Veltar moved to his communication panel. His 4 eyes scanned the readings. 60 large ships hung in space above their peaceful world. Each one was 5 times bigger than anything the Zephyrians had ever built. The ships were black and covered, with weapon ports. They looked like metal sharks waiting to feed. "Send a message on all channels," Veltar ordered. "Tell them we are a mining colony. We have no weapons. We want no trouble." Zara Esh worked at her console. Her tentacles moved quickly over the controls. "Message sent, sir." No response. Then the first beam of red light struck the northern city. The plasma beam was so hot it turned buildings into glass. In seconds, 10,000 people were gone. The attack had begun. Veltar's communication panel lit up with emergency calls. Voices filled with panic came from all over the planet. The southern mining station was under attack. The eastern farms were burning. The central hospital had been hit. "Sir, they're targeting everything," Zara Esh said. Her voice was shaking. "They're not trying to capture us. They want us all dead." More ships appeared in the sky. These were smaller and moved faster. They dropped through the atmosphere like falling stones. Veltar could see them through his window. They were troop transports. The enemy was coming to the ground. "Get me the defense grid," Veltar commanded. "It's gone, sir." They hit it first. Veltar felt cold fear in his chest. The Zephyrians were peaceful people. They had no army. Their few security guards carried stunners, not real weapons. They had never needed to fight anyone before. The first enemy soldiers appeared on the streets outside. They were tall and covered in black armor. Red lights glowed where their eyes should be. They moved like machines, not living beings. In their hands were weapons that fired bolts of energy. Everything they shot burst into flames. "Who are they?" Zara Esh whispered. Veltar checked his computer files. The enemy ships matched old records from the Galactic database. "Corvins," he said. "The Corvin Dominion. They're slavers and killers. They destroy worlds for fun. Why us? We have nothing they want." "That's why," Veltar said sadly. "They kill because they can." Outside, the enemy soldiers were going house to house. They kicked down doors and dragged families into the streets. Men, women, and children all screamed as energy bolts cut them down. The Corvins showed no mercy. Even the smallest children were not spared. Veltar activated his emergency transmitter. It was their most powerful radio, designed to send messages to distant stars. His hands shook as he typed. "This is Colony Prime 779 broadcasting on all emergency frequencies." He spoke into the microphone. "We are under attack by superior forces. The Corvin Dominion has invaded our world. Our defensive grid has failed. Civilian population is 43,000. We need immediate help." He sent the message and waited. Only static came back. "Try the Galactic Council," Zara Esh suggested. Veltar switched frequencies. "Galactic Council emergency response. This is Zephyrian Colony Prime 779. We are under attack. Request immediate military assistance." A cold voice answered after several minutes. "Colony 779. Your sector has been declared a war zone. Council forces are unable to respond. Recommend immediate evacuation, if possible." "Evacuation?" Veltar could not believe what he heard. "We have no ships. The enemy controls our sky. How can we evacuate?" "That is not our problem. Council forces will not risk engagement with Corvin battle fleets." Message ends. The communication cut off. Veltar stared at the radio in shock. The Council had abandoned them. The organization that was supposed to protect peaceful worlds had turned its back. "Try the Andromedan fleet," Zara Esh said desperately. Veltar switched to another frequency. The Andromedans were warriors. Surely they would help. "Andromedan Command. This is Zephyrian colony requesting military aid. We are under attack by Corvan forces. The reply came quickly. Zephyrian colony Andromedan forces are engaged in the spiral sector. No ships available for rescue operations. Good luck. Another rejection. Veltar tried the Silicon Confederacy, the Tau Empire, even the distant Crystal Worlds. Every answer was the same. No one would help. No one would risk their ships against the Corvan war machine. Outside, the killing continued. Corvan soldiers moved through the streets like a plague. Their energy weapons turned everything they touched into ash. The smell of burning buildings filled the air. Screams echoed from every direction. Sir? Zara Esh pointed to her scanner. More ships dropping from orbit. Ground assault vehicles. They're bringing heavy weapons. Through the window, Veltar could see massive metal machines landing in the city center. They looked like walking buildings with guns for arms. Each step they took shook the ground. When they fired, entire blocks disappeared. How long do we have? Veltar asked. Zara Esh checked her readings. At this rate, the city will be gone in 2 days, maybe less. Veltar looked at his communication panel. The emergency transmitter was still broadcasting their plea for help into the darkness of space. But space was silent. No one was listening. No one cared about a small mining colony on the edge of nowhere. Keep sending the message, he told Zara Esh. Every frequency, every channel. Sir, no one is coming. We're alone. Veltar watched another building collapse under enemy fire. Families were running in the streets looking for somewhere safe to hide. But there was nowhere to go. The Corvans were everywhere. Maybe, he said quietly, but we have to try. Someone out there might hear us. Someone might care enough to help. The blue sun disappeared behind the horizon. Night fell over the dying world. In the darkness, red explosions continued to light the sky. The message kept broadcasting, traveling through the void toward distant stars. But the stars seemed cold and empty. No one knew that far away on a small blue planet someone was listening. Captain Jake Morrison was drinking coffee in his quarters when the strange signal came through. It was 3 in the morning on the Earth defense ship Liberty. Most of the crew was sleeping as they traveled through empty space on their patrol route. Captain, to the bridge, came the voice over the ship's speaker system. We have something you need to see. Jake put down his coffee cup and walked quickly to the bridge. His ship was one of 12 that made up Earth's first deep space fleet. They had been traveling for 6 months, exploring the area around Earth's solar system. So far, they had found nothing but empty space and dead rocks. Lieutenant Lisa Park was at the communication station. She looked excited and worried at the same time. Sir, we picked up a transmission. It's not from Earth. Show me, Jake said. Lisa played the recording. Strange sounds filled the bridge. It was clearly a voice, but speaking in a language no human had ever heard. The words rose and fell in a musical pattern. Behind the voice, they could hear explosions and screams. How long has this been broadcasting? Jake asked. 2 hours, sir. It's coming from a star system about 14 light-years away. The computer is working on translation. Jake stared at the screen. First contact with alien life. Every human had dreamed of this moment. But this was not how anyone had imagined it would happen. Translation complete, the computer announced. The alien voice was replaced by a mechanical English voice. This is Colony Prime 779 broadcasting on all emergency frequencies. We are under attack by superior forces. The Corvan Dominion has invaded our world. Our defensive grid has failed. Civilian population is 43,000. We need immediate help. The message repeated. Jake listened to it 3 times. Each time, the explosions in the background seemed to get louder. Sir, Lisa said quietly. They're asking for help. Jake nodded. He had heard the desperation in the alien voice. Someone was dying out there. Someone was crying for help in the darkness, between stars. Get me Admiral Foster on Earth, Jake ordered. It took 30 minutes for the message to reach Earth and for the reply to come back. Admiral Patricia Foster's face appeared on the main screen. She looked tired. It was late at night on Earth, too. Captain. Morrison, I've read your report. This is a difficult situation. Admiral, we're talking about 40,000 innocent lives. We can't just ignore this. Jake, we don't know anything about these aliens. We don't know who they are, what they look like, or if they're telling the truth. For all we know, this could be a trap. Jake looked at the tactical display. 12 Earth ships against an unknown enemy. It was not good odds. But something in the alien's voice had touched him. It was the same sound he had heard in human voices during Earth's worst disasters. Pure, helpless fear. Admiral, I'm listening to people die. I can hear children screaming in the background. These aren't soldiers making a battle report. These are families being murdered. The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. What do you recommend, Captain? Let me take the fleet to investigate. If it's a trap, we'll run. If it's real, we help them. Jake, you could start a war. We don't know what's out there. Ma'am, the war has already started. Someone is killing innocent people. The only question is whether we're going to help or let it happen. Admiral Foster sighed. You have 12 ships, Jake. 12 ships against an unknown enemy that's powerful. Enough to attack an entire planet. Yes, ma'am, but they're Earth ships, and we have something those aliens don't expect. What's that? They don't know we exist. We have the element of surprise. The Admiral thought for a moment. Very well, Captain. You have permission to investigate. But Jake, if this goes wrong, you might be starting humanity's first interstellar war. Understood, Admiral. Morrison out. Jake turned to his crew. All hands, this is the captain. We have received a distress call from an alien world under attack. We are going to help them. This will be humanity's first contact with alien life, and it's happening in the middle of a war. I know this is not what any of us expected, but we have a chance to show the galaxy what kind of people we are. He looked around the bridge at his officers. These were good people, the best Earth had to offer. They had volunteered for deep space duty knowing they might never see home again. Lisa, signal the fleet. All ships to battle stations. We're going in. The Liberty and her 11 sister ships changed course toward the alien system. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Bob Clark pushed the fusion reactors to maximum power. They would need every bit of speed they could get. Commander Ben Taylor, leader of the Marine unit, gathered his soldiers in the ship's meeting room. 200 of Earth's finest warriors sat in the metal chairs, their faces serious. Listen up, people, Ben said. We're about to face an enemy that's been fighting wars while we were still learning to make fire. They have better technology, bigger ships, and more experience, but they've never fought humans before. Sergeant Kevin Brooks raised his hand. Sir, what do we know about this enemy? Not much. They're called the Corvan Dominion. From what we can tell, they destroy worlds for fun. They don't take prisoners. They kill everyone. The room was quiet. These soldiers had fought in Earth's last wars. They had seen the worst that humans could do to each other. But this was different. This was alien evil. Sir, Corporal Linda Hayes spoke up. What's the plan? Ben smiled grimly. The plan is simple. We hit them hard, we hit them fast, and we don't stop until they're gone or we are. These aliens think they can murder innocent people without consequences. They're about to learn they're wrong. On the bridge, Jake watched the stars stream past. In a few hours, they would drop out of faster-than-light travel and see the alien world. They would see the enemy that had made the galaxy afraid. Captain, Lisa said, I'm still picking up the distress signal, but it's getting weaker. Jake nodded. Time was running out. The alien colony was dying while they raced through space. Every minute that passed meant more innocent lives lost. How long until we arrive, he asked. 11 hours, sir. Jake looked at the tactical display again. 12 ships against an unknown enemy. It was suicide. But sometimes doing the right thing meant taking impossible odds. Signal the fleet, he said. Maximum speed. We're going to save those people. The Liberty and her escorts pushed through the darkness toward the distant battle. Behind them, Earth waited to see if humanity's first contact with alien life would end in victory or disaster. Neither the humans nor the aliens knew that this moment would change the galaxy forever. Admiral Thekmon was eating his morning meal when his sensor officer interrupted him. The Corvan commander looked up from his plate with irritation. His red eyes glowed in the dim light of his ship's bridge. What is it? Thekmon demanded. His voice was like metal scraping against stone. Sir, we have new contacts. 12 ships just appeared at the edge of the system. Thekmon laughed. It was a harsh sound that echoed through the bridge. More prey has arrived. What species? The sensor officer checked his readings. Unknown, sir. The ships are small. Each one is maybe 1/10 the size of our cruisers. Pathetic, Thekmon said. He returned to his meal. Destroy them quickly, then we can finish with the planet. The Corvin fleet was massive. 60 warships hung in space around the dying world like metal vultures. Each ship was covered with weapons. They had conquered 100 worlds with this fleet. 12 tiny ships would not even slow them down. But something strange happened when the Corvin ships moved to attack. The small human vessels did not run away. Instead, they spread out in a formation that made no sense to Corvin tactical computers. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Liberty, watching the enemy fleet approach. The Corvin ships were huge. Each one could probably destroy his entire fleet with a single shot. But Jake had studied the recordings from the alien colony. These ships were built for bombing planets, not fighting other vessels. All ships, this is Morrison, he spoke into his radio. Remember the plan. Stay fast, stay together, and hit them where it hurts. The first Corvin ship fired. A beam of red energy lanced through space toward the Liberty. But Jake had ordered his ship to turn at the last second. The beam missed by inches. Return fire, Jake ordered. The Liberty's main gun fired. But instead of an energy beam, it shot a solid metal slug moving at incredible speed. The Corvin captain had never seen such a primitive weapon. His shields were designed to stop energy beams, not physical objects. The metal slug punched through the alien ship's hull like a bullet through paper. Explosions rippled along the Corvin vessel's side. Atmosphere vented into space through the hole. Direct hit, reported Lieutenant Lisa Park. Enemy ship is damaged. Admiral Thekmon stared at his tactical screen in disbelief. One of his cruisers had been damaged by a ship 1/10 its size. It was impossible. All ships, destroy those insects, he roared. The Corvin fleet opened fire. Dozens of energy beams filled space with deadly light. But the human ships moved like dancers, turning and diving in patterns the aliens could not predict. The big Corvin vessels were too slow to track the smaller, faster human ships. Captain Ruth Sanders commanded the Earthship Defiance. She saw her chance when a Corvin battleship turned to fire at another human vessel. The alien ship's underside was exposed. Take us underneath their hull, she ordered her pilot. The Defiance dove toward the massive enemy ship. The Corvin vessel was so big that its crew did not even notice the small human ship approaching from below. Fire all missiles, Ruth commanded. 6 solid projectiles shot up into the Corvin ship's belly. The alien vessel shuddered as explosions tore through its lower decks. Warning lights flashed on its bridge. The Corvin captain could not understand what was happening. His ship was being attacked by weapons that should not exist. Metal slugs and chemical explosives were technologies from the distant past. No civilized species used such primitive tools, but primitive or not, they worked. The solid projectiles punched through alien armor that could stop any energy weapon. The chemical explosives created fires that spread through the ship's systems. On the planet below, Commander Veltar watched the battle through his telescope. He could hardly believe what he was seeing. The tiny ships were attacking the massive Corvin fleet and winning. Who are they? Lieutenant Zara Esh asked in wonder. I don't know, Veltar replied, but they're fighting for us. The human ships moved through the Corvin fleet like wolves hunting sheep. They were too small and fast for the big alien guns to hit, but their weapons found their targets again and again. Commander Ben Taylor's voice came over the radio to all human ships. This is Marine Leader. I need a ride to that big ship in the center, the one with all the antennas. That's the command ship, Jake Morrison replied. It's suicide, Ben. Maybe, but if we take out their command center, the rest might fall apart. Jake looked at the huge Corvin flagship. It was 5 times bigger than any other ship in the alien fleet. It bristled with weapons and was surrounded by smaller escort vessels. I'll get you there, Jake said. Lisa, signal all ships. We're going to clear a path for the Marines. The 11 remaining human ships formed a wedge formation with the Liberty at the point. They charged straight at the Corvin flagship like a spear thrown at a giant. Energy beams filled space around them. The human ship Eagle took a direct hit and exploded in a ball of fire. The Courage lost its main engine and began to drift, but the others kept coming. Admiral Thekmon watched in growing panic as the primitive ships carved through his fleet. His own vessel shook as human weapons found their mark. "How are they doing this?" he demanded. "Their technology is ancient." His tactical officer looked confused. "Sir, they're using kinetic weapons and chemical explosives. Our computers don't know how to fight such primitive tools." Thekmon realized the truth. His fleet was designed to fight other energy weapon civilizations. Their shields and armor were perfect protection against lasers and plasma beams. But they had no defense against simple metal slugs and old-fashioned bombs. The Liberty broke through, the last line of Corvin escorts. Jake could see the flagship's docking bay ahead. "Ben, you're on," he called to the Marine commander. Commander Ben Taylor's shuttle launched from the Liberty's bay. It was a small, fast ship carrying 12 human Marines. Their target was the heart of the Corvin fleet. "Remember, people," Ben told his soldiers as they approached the enemy ship. "These aliens kill children for fun. Show them what happens when they mess with the innocent." Sergeant Kevin Brooks piloted the shuttle through the Corvin ship's defensive fire. Energy beams burned past them on all sides. But humans had been dodging bullets for thousands of years. This was just bullets in space. The shuttle slipped into the flagship's docking bay like a knife sliding between ribs. The real fight was about to begin. On the bridge of the Liberty, Jake Morrison watched his tactical display. Half the Corvin fleet was damaged or destroyed. But the battle was far from over. "All ships, stay close to the big ships," Jake ordered. "Make them afraid to fire. If they miss, they might hit their own vessels." The tide of battle was turning. The hunters had become the hunted. The Corvin flagship had never been boarded in 300 years of war. Its halls were filled with the sound of marching metal boots as security teams rushed to find the human invaders. But the humans moved like ghosts through the alien ship. Commander Ben Taylor led his 12 Marines through the dark corridors. Their black armor made them almost invisible in the dim light. Each Marine carried weapons that the Corvins had never seen before. Simple guns that fired metal bullets instead of energy beams. "2 guards ahead," whispered Corporal Linda Hayes. She was the team's explosives expert. Her rifle was already aimed at the corner where 2 Corvin soldiers stood watch. The alien guards were 7 feet tall and covered in black battle armor. Red lights glowed where their eyes should be. They carried energy rifles that could cut through steel, but they were looking for enemies with energy shields and plasma weapons. They were not ready for humans. Ben made a hand signal. Linda and Private Tony Martinez moved to opposite sides of the corridor. When Ben nodded, they both fired at the same time. The metal bullets punched through Corvin armor like it was paper. The aliens fell before they could make a sound. Their energy weapons clattered on the metal floor. "Move fast," Ben ordered. "More will come." The Marines ran deeper into the ship. Behind them, alarms began to wail. The Corvins knew they had been boarded, but they did not know by what kind of enemy. Staff Sergeant Carol Washington checked her map display. "Bridge is 3 levels up, sir, but we have to get through their security center first." "Then that's where we go," Ben said. Meanwhile, in space around the flagship, the battle was getting more intense. Captain Jake Morrison watched his tactical screen as human ships darted between the massive Corvin vessels. The aliens were starting to understand that their energy weapons were not working well against human ships. "Captain," Lieutenant Lisa Park called out, "the Corvin ships are changing tactics. They're trying to ram us." Jake saw it too. The huge alien ships were turning toward the smaller human vessels. If a Corvin battleship hit a human ship directly, it would crush it like a bug. "All ships, new formation," Jake ordered. "Use their size against them. Stay close to their hulls. Make them afraid to turn too quickly." The human ship Defiance was being chased by a Corvin cruiser twice its size. Captain Ruth Sanders ordered her pilot to fly directly toward another alien ship. "Ma'am, we're going to hit them," her pilot said nervously. "No, we're not," Ruth replied calmly. "But they think we are." The Defiance raced toward the second Corvin ship at full speed. At the last second, Ruth ordered a sharp turn. Her ship slipped between the two alien vessels with inches to spare. The two Corvin ships, moving too fast to stop, crashed into each other with tremendous force. Both alien ships were badly damaged. One lost its main engine and began to drift helplessly. The other had a huge hole in its side and was venting atmosphere. "Nice flying," Jake Morrison said over the radio. Inside the Corvin flagship, Ben Taylor's Marines had reached the security center. It was a large room filled with computer screens and control panels. 20 Corvin guards were watching displays that showed the battle outside. "Flash grenades," Ben ordered quietly. His Marines threw small metal cylinders into the room. The devices exploded with blinding light and deafening sound. The Corvin guards stumbled around, unable to see or hear. The humans charged into the room. Their guns fired rapid bursts of metal bullets. The confused aliens fell one by one, unable to fight back effectively. "Control their security systems," Ben told Tony Martinez. The young Marine was their computer expert. Tony plugged a human device into the alien computer system. "I'm in, sir. I can lock down most of the ship. The Corvins won't be able to move freely." "Do it," Ben ordered. Across the flagship, blast doors began to slam shut. Corvin soldiers found themselves trapped in small sections of their own ship. The aliens had never faced an enemy that could turn their own technology against them. Admiral Thekmon felt his ship shudder as more human weapons found their target. Half his fleet was destroyed or badly damaged. These primitive aliens were somehow winning a battle they should have lost in minutes. "Sir," his sensor officer reported, "we're detecting explosions inside our ship. The boarders are moving toward the bridge." Thekmon's red eyes burned with rage. "Send all remaining guards to stop them. Use the heavy weapons." But it was too late. Ben Taylor's team had reached the level below the bridge. They could hear Corvin soldiers above them, but the aliens could not get down to their level. Tony had locked all the connecting passages. "Time for the big surprise," Ben said. He nodded to Linda Hayes. Linda placed a large explosive device against the ceiling. "Everyone back," she warned. The bomb exploded upward, blowing a huge hole in the floor of the bridge above. Ben and his Marines climbed through the hole into the command center of the Corvin fleet. Admiral Thekmon stared in shock at the 12 humans who had appeared in his bridge. They were smaller than Corvins, but their weapons were already aimed at him and his crew. "Surrender," Ben Taylor demanded. His voice was calm but deadly. Thekmon laughed, showing rows of sharp teeth. "You are few. We are many. This victory means nothing. More fleets will come." Ben's reply was cold as space. "Maybe, but you picked the wrong species to mess with. We're humans. We don't forget and we don't forgive. Your people just learned what happens when you kill innocent children." On the planet below, Commander Veltar watched through his telescope as the Corvin flagship suddenly stopped firing. Other alien ships were also going quiet. Some were beginning to retreat toward the edge of the system. "The big ship has stopped," Zarash said in wonder. "They're not shooting anymore." Veltar adjusted his telescope. He could see explosions on several Corvin vessels. The mysterious human ships were still attacking, but now the aliens seemed to be running away instead of fighting back. "Sir, I'm getting a transmission," Zarash reported. "It's from the unknown ships." A strange voice spoke in broken galactic standard. "Zephyrian Colony, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Fleet. We received your distress call. The enemy command ship is captured. Remaining hostile forces are retreating." Veltar could hardly believe what he was hearing. The impossible had happened. 12 small ships had defeated 60 large ones. The unstoppable Corvin war machine had been stopped. "Who are you?" Veltar asked into his microphone. "We're humans," came the reply. "We're from a planet called Earth, and we came because someone needed help." In space, the last Corvin ships were jumping to faster-than-light speed, fleeing the system as fast as they could go. They carried news that would shake the galaxy. Somewhere in the darkness between stars, there was a new species, a species that would travel impossible distances to protect strangers, a species that fought harder when the odds were against them. The age of Corvin terror was ending. The age of human protection had begun. 3 days after the battle, the sky above Colony Prime 779 was finally quiet. The red explosions had stopped. The screaming had ended. For the first time in weeks, Zephyrian children could play outside without fear. Commander Veltar stood in the colony's main square, looking up at the 12 human ships that orbited their world. Each ship was small compared to the Corvin monsters that had tried to destroy them. But these small ships had done something that no one thought possible. They had made the galaxy's most feared predators run away. Captain Jake Morrison walked across the square toward Veltar. The human was shorter than most Zephyrians, but he moved with quiet confidence. Behind him came several other humans, including the Marine commander who had captured the Corvin flagship. "Commander Veltar," Jake said, speaking careful Galactic Standard. "My name is Jake Morrison. We're sorry we couldn't get here sooner." Veltar's 4 eyes filled with tears. "Captain Morrison, you saved 40,000 lives. You came when no one else would. How can we ever repay such a debt?" Jake shook his head. "You don't owe us anything. We did what anyone should do when innocent. People are in danger." But Veltar knew better. In his long career, he had met representatives from dozens of species across hundreds of worlds. He had never seen warriors like these humans. They had risked everything for strangers they had never met. "Captain, may I ask you something?" Veltar said. "Of course." "Why did you come? Your people don't know us. We have nothing to offer you. Why did you risk your ships and your lives for aliens you had never seen?" Jake was quiet for a moment. He looked around at the Zephyrian families who were rebuilding their homes. Children were playing in the streets again. Parents were smiling as they worked to repair the damage. "Because it was the right thing to do," Jake said simply. "Where we come from, we have a saying. Evil succeeds when good people do nothing. We heard people calling for help, so we came." Lieutenant Zara Esh approached them, carrying a datapad. "Sir, we're receiving messages from across the galaxy. News of the battle is spreading." She handed the pad to Veltar. His eyes widened as he read the messages. They were coming from dozens of worlds, all saying the same thing. Who were these humans? Where did they come from? How had they defeated the Corvin Dominion? "Commander," Zara Esh said quietly, "some of the messages are from species that have been hiding from the Corvins for generations. They want to know if the humans will help them too." Jake looked surprised. "Help them with what?" "The Corvins have been terrorizing this part of the galaxy for 300 years, Veltar explained. "They destroy worlds for pleasure. They kill entire populations for fun. Most species just hide and hope the Corvins don't find them. And now they think we can stop them. Captain, you just did something that no one thought was possible. You made the Corvin fleet run away. Word of this battle will spread to every corner of the galaxy. Meanwhile, in the deep space between stars, the surviving Corvin ships limped toward their home base. Admiral Thekmon sat in chains in the human ship Liberty's holding cell. His once mighty fleet had been reduced to less than 20 vessels. The Corvin captain, who now led the retreat, sent an urgent message to the Dominion capital. "The humans are real," he reported. "They use primitive weapons that our shields cannot stop. They fight like nothing we have ever seen. They show no fear, even when outnumbered. Recommend immediate withdrawal from all sectors near their territory." The message traveled through hyperspace toward the Corvin homeworld. Soon, every alien government in the galaxy would know about the humans, the species that had appeared from nowhere to challenge the galaxy's greatest predators. Back on the Zephyrian colony, Jake Morrison met with his officers to discuss what came next. Commander Ben Taylor had just finished interrogating Corvin prisoners. The news was disturbing. "Captain, these aliens have destroyed over 200 worlds in the past century," Ben reported. "They keep detailed records of their kills. Men, women, children. They don't care. They kill everyone." Lieutenant Lisa Park looked sick. "Sir, according to their data, they were planning to attack 12 more colonies after this one. All peaceful. Worlds with no defenses." Jake felt cold anger in his chest. The Corvins were not just conquerors. They were monsters who enjoyed causing pain and death. "Signal the fleet," Jake ordered. "We're going to visit those 12 colonies. We're going to warn them and help them prepare defenses." "Sir," Ben said, We only have 12 ships. The Corvins have hundreds of fleets across the galaxy. Then we better get started, Jake replied. Word of Jake's decision spread quickly through hyperspace communication networks. The humans were not going home. They were going to hunt down every Corvin fleet they could find. On dozens of worlds, alien families gathered around their communication devices to hear the news. For the first time in centuries, someone was fighting back against the Corvin terror. Someone was protecting the innocent. The Crystal World sent a message offering to build weapons for the humans. The Silicon Confederacy offered to share their shield technology. The Tau Empire offered to provide fuel and supplies for the human fleet. Species that had been enemies for generations began working together for the first time, all because 12 small ships had shown them that the Corvins could be beaten. Admiral Patricia Foster sat in her office on Earth, reading reports. From across the galaxy, Jake Morrison's little fleet had started something much bigger than a single battle. They had given hope to an entire galaxy. Her communication panel lit up with an incoming message. It was from the Galactic Council, the same organization that had refused to help the Zephyrian colony. Admiral Foster, the council representative began. We would like to discuss a formal alliance with your species. The human military has shown impressive capabilities. Patricia smiled coldly. 3 days ago, you wouldn't lift a finger to save 40,000 innocent lives. Now you want to be our friends? The situation has changed, Admiral. The humans have proven themselves to be a valuable military asset. We're not assets, Patricia replied. We're people who believe in protecting the innocent. If you want our help, you'll have to prove you believe in that too. She cut the communication and looked out her window at the stars. Somewhere out there, Jake Morrison and his brave crew were hunting monsters. They were showing the galaxy what humans really were. Not conquerors, not destroyers. Protectors. The Corvin Dominion had ruled through fear for 3 centuries. But now, for the first time, they were the ones who were afraid. In the darkness between stars, Earth's warriors were coming for them, and the galaxy would never be the same.